Well, welcome once again to another episode of Luke Reacts. Now, you might be wondering, why am I dressed like the Brawny Man? I am not selling paper towels as much as it might look like I am. Instead, I have chosen to talk about our neighbors to the north, Canada. And to start off, well, let me just start off with the national anthem of Canada. And here we go.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command.
Okay, I'm sure the whole thing is really great. And if you want to listen to it, I'm sure it's all over YouTube and you can watch it a bunch of times. But I'm going to talk about the resignation of Justin Trudeau and what that potentially means for, well, the world, America, all that sort of good stuff. But before I do that, let me just say, really appreciate all the likes and subscribes to our shows here on YouTube. We hit over 13,000 subscribers. So I just really appreciate all of you who have subscribed to our channel. Welcome to the new ones, and to the ones who have been here from day one. You are awesome as well. So for those who are just tuning in for the first time, please like and subscribe to our channel. So Justin Trudeau, who is the Prime Minister of Canada, has resigned. Well, he has said, I plan to resign once a new leader has been chosen. So it's kind of like, there's going to be some changes to the government of Canada. And you might ask, why is this all happening? Well, it's because the current Prime Minister of Canada is not well liked. Everywhere he goes, he's mocked and yelled at and catcalled and all sorts of stuff. And he's probably just getting tired of it. He just kind of wants to go hang out in Florida. I mean, he was at Mar-a-Lago quickly after Trump won the election, and there was this great dinner that Trump and Trudeau had together, and Trump basically said he'll be a good governor of the 51st state of the United States. Mind you, I'll put a parentheses in my commentary here. I don't think we really actually want, well, those who are conservative, let's say the red state America people, don't really want Canada in just yet. Because in part it would be adding a blue state to the union. So somehow we would have to create some other state that would give us a red state that would balance it out. But I'm not so keen. Greenland, on the other hand, now that's a state one could ask for. I'm looking forward to that. All kinds of stuff in Greenland. Greenland's coming. It's going to be the next territory. Okay. Anyways, let's play Justin Trudeau's, well, resignation.
So last night over dinner, I told my kids about the decision that I'm sharing with you today. I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process. Last night, I asked the President of the Liberal Party to begin that process. This country deserves a real choice in the next election, and it has become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot be the best option in that election.
There you go. There you have it. I love how he starts out. Last night I told my kids over dinner what I'm about to tell you. It's very, very homely. It's like, kids, listen, I'm going to resign. We get to spend more time at the beach. And he's like, well, I just, I can't. It's become clear that I can't fight other people within my own party and fight, the conservatives at the same time. Well, it's because the conservatives are going to totally destroy you. That's the problem, or the issue, really. And so it became clear, I think, to Trudeau that he was going to lose, and not just a little, but by a lot. I mean, like the polls have the Conservatives up at least like 20% or something. Like it's like way up. They're just not. It's not even close. It would be a bloodbath of the Liberal Party in Canada, and Trudeau is, for the sake of the liberal establishment of Canada, I have to step down. So it's a good thing. I, for one, am of the mind that it is a point of celebration. So I got my bottle of this is my maple syrup, and I'm going to toast. It's dry January, and those who know me know that I don't like dry January, but I do partake in dry January just so that um well, to stave off any accusation that I'm a raging alcoholic or something like that. I do like beer. But anyways, I do. I mean, I don't have much left of this, and I'll tell you why. Because I make an amazing old fashioned, right? An old fashioned is whiskey, bitters, simple syrup, and some orange. I got a little rind of orange, and instead of simple syrup, I use maple syrup, and it's really, really good. So to Canada for getting rid of Justin Trudeau, here's to you. Now I'm not gonna drink the whole thing because that would I'd have like a sugar. I'd be bouncing off the walls in here. That's nice. Nice little sweetness in the mouth. I'm not a maple syrup connoisseur. I'm sure there are people out there that would be like, oh, that is from this region of Canada. I'm not that guy. But now I did ask, because it's over the years. I mean, Justin Trudeau has been in power like a decade, right? It's been a long time. He won an election. He shouldn't have had won the last one, but he did. And he there's a lot of rumors out there that he's the offspring of none other than Fidel Castro, the former leader, former communist dictator of Canada. And the reason that this rumor exists is because Fidel Castro met Justin Trudeau's mom in the 70s, because Justin Trudeau's dad was this like kind of, I don't know, he was like a legendary premier of Canada. He was a little flamboyant, a kind of, I mean, I think he was 51 when he married Justin Trudeau's mom, who was 22 at the time. So that's a nice 31-year gap. And who knows? She goes down to Cuba, hangs out with Fidel. Fidel's like, "Hi, how you doing?" And next thing you know, they're Justin Trudeau. Well, so I did what every good-natured investigative person out there does. I went over and I asked Gronk. Who's Gronk, you might ask? Well, that is Twitter's AI, or X's AI now. I just keep calling it Twitter. Now, Grok 2, because Grok as Grok 1 is no longer, it's now Grok 2. He says, no, there's no way. So I did. I'll show you. You can look right now and see the details. And then basically the details are, sorry, Luke, no, Justin Trudeau is not the son of Fidel Castro. Mostly it has a lot to do with the fact that Justin Trudeau was born 3 years before Justin Trudeau's mom went to visit Fidel Castro. So he was already 3 years old when that visit happened, so it couldn't have happened. And she didn't go before, so that would have been the thing. And then, I mean, after that, it becomes, I'm less convinced, because supposedly the Canadians looked into this and found it was not true. And the Cubans looked into it. No, it's not true at all. The rumor came, mind you, was, and I don't even know if this is true, but it was when Fidel Castro's son died. Actually, he committed suicide. In his suicide note, he mentioned his brother, Justin Trudeau. So that sparked the rumors. Now, let me show you a picture of Justin Trudeau and Fidel Castro. Just, because I just want to prove once and for all for everybody who watches this that there's no truth at all to the conspiracy, the rumors that Justin Trudeau and Fidel Castro are related. It cannot be true at all. Oh man, they sure do look alike. I'm not going to lie. There's a striking resemblance. Now, one wonders, like, why is this striking resemblance? I mean, could it be that socialism and bad public policy, carries a look? Maybe it's that. Maybe so. Maybe it's communism. Maybe it's the look of the crazy-eyed communist. But nonetheless, there is nothing true to it. We can all pick at and make fun of the fact that Justin Trudeau sure does look like the son of Fidel Castro, but it's not true. It's not true. All right. So now, when I was a kid, I grew up in Seattle, and Seattle is 4 hours away from Canada. So my family would go up to Canada on a regular basis. We'd go up to Vancouver because it was pretty, and it was kind of, go for the weekend or, whatever. So spent some time, a fair bit of time in Canada. But when I was a kid, a movie came out called Strange Brew with a couple of, with Bob and Doug McKenzie. Now, if anybody, all the Gen X kids out there, well, you'll remember this, the A-Hoser and the whole thing of Strange Brew. And so I thought, out of nostalgia, that I would bring back a little clip of the guys from Strange Brew, Bob and Doug McKenzie. And you got to watch this whole thing because it's so, my perception of Canada was basically created by these guys. So whether it's true or not, I have no idea because I haven't been to Canada, man, in like 30 years, maybe longer. But yeah, this is my perception of Canada. So here you go. Watch this.
Do that thing again. Do it once. You're supposed to do it once.
No, it's like our theme, and it's got to be two full things.
Well, then we got to get Billy to leave that thing up longer. Good day. This is the Great White North. I'm Bob McKenzie. This is my brother Doug.
How's it going, eh?
How's it going, eh? Okay, this is Doug's doing this show on.
Okay, today's topic is snow chains, eh? Here they are, right here.
Here, chill these up, will you?
Oh, geez, well, I got too much to do here, eh? I can't do everything.
Okay, put them aside.
I got a smoke in my hands, and no.
Here, give me the smoke. Give me the smoke.
Well, don't smoke it, eh? Don't booger up the end, eh?
You ever smoke 2 cigarettes at once?
This doesn't fit, eh? Maybe I can just crush it. Okay, give me my. How do I know which one's mine, eh?
Try to put it right here.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
That back bacon sure smells good.
Yeah, it needs a flip. Oh, geez, this plastic spatula is gonna.
Use a fork, eh?
I think that's better.
So, what are we doing?
Snow chains.
Oh yeah, eh? They're
the
good
show's
for
over.
winter.
Well, now you really blew it. The show's over. Good day.
Good day, eh?
There you go, guys. Now you've seen it all. That is, yeah. They call each other hoser all the time. So, gosh, when I was a kid, I mean, the Strange Brew came out in '83. So just put you, yeah. I don't know. I would have been 10 when Strange Brew came out. I have no idea why my parents let me watch it. Now that I think of it, but it was still fun, and I watched it all the time. Now, Strange Brew. Leave aside Strange Brew. The strange things happening in Canada is that one of the, like, there's this rising conservative star, in Canada. Now, I cannot pronounce his last name, and I've, even when I go and put into Google how to pronounce this guy's last name, and I try and then do it, I still fail. So I'll just call him Pierre. Pierre's like amazing, has been so great when he, particularly with the media, he's like, he channels this whole, a very, antagonistic relationship with the media. So here's a little clip of the future Prime Minister of Canada, Pierre.
On the topic, I mean, in terms of your sort of strategy currently, you're obviously taking the populist pathway.
What does that mean?
Well, appealing to people's more emotional levels, I would guess. I mean, certainly you tap very strong ideological language quite frequently.
Like what?
Left wing, this and that, right wing. I mean, it's that type of ideological thing.
I never really talk about left or right.
Anyways, I don't
really believe in that.
Okay, a lot of people would say that you're simply taking a page out of the Donald Trump book.
Like which people would say that?
Well, I'm sure a great many Canadians, but
like who?
I don't know who, but
well, you're the one who asked the question, so
yeah.
You must know somebody.
Okay, I'm sure there's some out there, but anyways, the point of this question is, I mean, why should Canadians trust you with their vote, given not just the sort of ideological inclination in terms of taking the page out of Donald Trump's book, but
what are you
also
talking about? What page? Can you give me a page? Give me the page. You keep saying
in terms of turning things quite dramatically in terms of Trudeau and the left wing and all of this. I mean, you make quite a it's quite a play that you make on it. So I'm
not sure. I don't know what your question is.
Then forget that. Why should Canadians trust you with their vote?
Common sense.
Okay.
Common sense for a change. We're going to make common sense common in this country. We don't have any common sense in the current government. The guy prints $600 billion, grows our money supply by 32% in 3 years. That's growing the money 8 times faster than the economy. No wonder we have the worst inflation in 4 decades. I'm going to cap spending, cut waste, so that we can balance the budget and bring down inflation and interest rates. You'll want to be able to pay your mortgage again? You want to be able to afford rent? Then you have to vote for Pierre Poilievre, because I'm the only one with a common sense plan that will bring back the buying power of your paycheck.
Wow. There you go. The future Prime Minister of Canada, Mr. Pierre. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the letter, honestly. It's just there's too many letters, and it's kind of French, and I'm just going to mess it up. But he's like every time I see him speak, I'm like, that dude, he gets it. He's a great communicator. And the thing about Canada is the last conservative part is this guy, Stephen Harper. He was amazing. He's such a mensch, like a really straight up guy, did really well. Was a strong advocate for Israel. Just a good guy. And so my hope is that, there will be, a challenge for the leadership of the Liberal Party in Canada. But there'll be elections soon enough. And, they're supposed to be in the fall, but maybe they'll be moved up. And there will be a new leader in Canada. Mind you, like the thing about Canada is there's a lot of stuff going on with the tariffs. That's a big topic, that's taking place both on this side and that side of the border issues. Obviously immigration issues are important, but one of the big issues and is the rise of Islamism, or the Islamist movement in Canada. And the problem is that you have and we're seeing this not just in Canada, but you're seeing this all over Europe as well. You had like basically unrestricted immigration from largely Muslim countries of Muslim men who are, they're not they're unmarried. They're just coming in. It's like they're claiming to be refugees, but they're basically economic migrants coming into places like Canada and also in Europe. And then they don't assimilate, and they see a weak, these Western nations are supposedly Christian, but their churches are empty, and you have a weak culture upon which these Islamists are coming into, and they're basically dictating preference on a whole ton of things. Like there's a bunch of videos of where like Muslim men are basically stopping traffic in the middle of Montreal to pray to Mecca, just as a statement of intimidation. I guarantee that, if there was an attempted, somebody do a cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad, there'd be riots and that kind of thing. But there's this upcoming conference in Canada, which, the fact that these guys who are putting this on are so brazen and proud. Let me show you a bit of this upcoming conference coming to Canada.
At the height of the Uthmani Khilafah, Islamic rule spanned across 3 continents. From the Balkans in southeastern Europe to Anatolia, Central Asia, Arabia, and North Africa. Seeing that they could not fight the Khilafah directly, the colonialist powers exploited treacherous agents in the Muslim lands to dismantle the Khilafah from within, leading to its fall in 1924 in Turkey. Since losing the Khilafah, which was our shield, our Ummah has witnessed nothing short of bloodshed, foreign occupation, invasions, and oppression over these last 100 years. Despite all this, the colonialist powers are still afraid of the Ummah's latent strength. And this strength comes from her love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the final messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Islam. If this love can be turned...
All right, I could keep going on that, but you can watch it on your own. But this conference is basically, it's calling for, a revival of Islamic supremacy around the world, and their main antagonist is colonialists, which is seen as Americans, Westerners, Israel, you name it. Like, colonialist is the bad guy of the world right now. In Israel, of all these pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas activists, calling the settler colonialist ambitions of Israel, etc. It all stems from this anti-colonialist guy, Edward Said, who was a professor at Columbia University. He was from Lebanon. He was an Arab. He was, it's the surprise it's at Columbia University. It seems to be a bastion of elitist anti-Americanism and stuff like that. So it's no surprise that it would come out of Columbia University, but it's basically at the root of it is anti-American, but anti-Christian, anti-Jewish sentiment. And it is religious, it is ideological, and they're putting forth their vision of the world. And the problem is they're coming into places that right now have a weak culture, meaning that they, like, the response of so many people in these countries is kind of like it's suicide by empathy, is as a few people have said, because they're so desiring to be compassionate to those who are suffering, is that the people they let in, they don't share their values. They don't share their understanding of the world. Right now you have this epidemic for 20 years of grooming gangs in the UK that were covered up by the British government because they were afraid that it would cause social harm. It would impact the community. The community trust would be would be broken if people knew about these Muslim grooming gangs terrorizing young girls in the UK. That, like, if your multiculturalism requires that you have a two-tiered judicial system, then it's not a good system, and the multiculturalism is a bad idea. Now, here's the thing: I spent so many years as I was a social justice warrior for like a decade, and so I know the thinking of this whole crowd, and I know that their like hearts are in a good spot, but the problem is they're 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 being outwitted and out thought in a sense, because they're thinking, oh, if we're nice to these Islamist refugees, then they will, they'll know that we do this out of Christian love, and then maybe they'll become Christians. And I don't only have to say anything. I won't have to tell them about Jesus or anything like that. They'll just kind of get it through osmosis. Doesn't happen. It doesn't happen at all. Instead, what happens is the other way around. You have a bunch of people start converting to Islam, and women, like young girls. There was a bunch of videos I saw this last week of young girls starting to, to wear hijabs because they want to fit in. It's a strange world out there when you have the liberal feminist children who are adopting, Islamist ideologies and dress codes. So, it's there's so much that I could say there, but let me just keep unpacking this one step further, because not only do you have this, this Islamist conference taking place in Canada. Here's another video. This was on our Instagram. If you're not following us on Instagram, you should, Feels Project. But this is on our Instagram. We had a video of a guy who is laying out the plan for Canada. Play this.
By 2060, Muslims will be the biggest religious group the world over. What are you going to do then? Actually, are you going to oppose Sharia even then? If we have families, we are making babies. You're not. Our population is going down the slump. One day we can have a Muslim majority nation here in Canada. Right in your face.
You say that you want Sharia law to displace Canadian law. That doesn't sound very respectful.
In majority, you wouldn't have any other option, my friend. Islam doesn't endorse gayism. Islam doesn't endorse homosexuality. The gay people are doing is against the commandments of God.
All right. Right. That's the goal. And that's the, and here's the thing. He's not actually all that wrong also in terms of the population growth. I mean, the reason why basically secular people don't have kids and the Christians are not far behind. Only, you have, some good Catholics and Presbyterians and Baptists are having kids, but it's hard for if they're trying to make up for the tens of thousands of secular women who are not having kids at all. That's an issue. I mean, you have I saw some statistics this last week that show that the highest number of people who will never marry and have children in our history of America is now. It's the problem of fertility and population is a math problem. You can change the direction of your fertility and go from places like South Korea where fertility rates are like 1.1 and you can get it up to 1.5. But the problem is that what happened when you got it down to 1.1 is that carries through in a real physical way. And you start shutting down hospitals and schools, and communities start closing, and towns start emptying. I mean, you see this in places, when the Soviet Union fell and millions of former of Russians fled the former Soviet Union, millions and millions. There was thousands of towns all across Russia that just emptied. They became ghost towns. Nobody lives in them to this day, and they're like the nature is taking them over. You have places like Portugal where there's been a low fertility rate for a long time. Maternity wards can't stay open. In major cities, you have a reduction of maternity wards because there's just no kids. And then what does that lead to? Less schools. And what does that lead to? Less people to, support the welfare system, all that sort of stuff. All right. So let me just show you one last clip. And this one is our buddy, he's such a good friend that I forgot his name all of a sudden. Elon Levy. He came and spoke to us beginning of this year, something like beginning of last year, I guess. Since it's a new year, I gotta say that. But here's him going to visit the University of Calgary. I gotta say, the University of Calgary, on the list of universities in Canada that are causing problems for Jews, like unfortunately, the University of Calgary isn't even at the top of that list. And this is as bad. This is so bad, but it gets worse from here. So why don't we play this and we'll kind of react to it afterwards.
Do you hear? How many kids did you just take? Have some shame! You have nothing to your name! You have nothing to your name! A whole family in Hessedite! A whole family! You are not welcome here! Do you hear? You are nothing, do you hear? You are not welcome here! Shame on you! 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 Shame on you!
All right, you can imagine it doesn't get any better. And that goes on, and he was harassed and but the thing is that he was a speaker, but the things that are happening just to the average student, the average Jewish person in Canada is really horrific. Places like Montreal, which had a really huge and vibrant Jewish community, they're afraid, they're suffering. There's regular marches, regular acts of vandalism, intimidation, all that sort of stuff, and it's not getting any better. So the hope is that with the resignation of Justin Trudeau, that the new guy, Prime Minister Pierre, I'll even say it before it happens, Prime Minister Pierre will root out this poison. He will do what it takes to get rid of these people who are causing, who are intimidating, who are causing that kind of internal social destruction, who don't have a vision of a diverse liberal Canada. Instead, they want a monolithic, homogeneous Canada where everybody worships Allah, and nobody can, like, every day is dry January. That's the vision, and it's a terrible vision. And I don't want that to be to our neighbor to the north, nor do I really want them to be the 51st state, because I don't want a blue state to the north. But I really hope that this is something transformational is about to happen in Canada, and I welcome a renewed relationship with Canada. And for all the people who are going to vote in the future elections, well, choose wisely, because I think it's pretty obvious the direction that you could go is further and further into kind of woke totalitarianism, or freedom to be all kinds of Canadians, whether you're Christian or Jewish or Muslim or Sikh or nothing, or First Nations. And there's a lot of great people in Canada, and it's a good neighbor, and hopefully it will stay that way. So, all right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this walk through, well, a little bit of politics, a little bit of, there was some drinking of maple syrup, which is weird. dressed like the Brawny Man, all for the sake of Canada. I love you, Canada. Stay squishy or whatever you are. All right. Thank you very much. Be sure to like and subscribe to this channel. Donate to the Feels Project if you need your money. And I'll talk to you next time.